can't lie anymore. And you probably can't either, you fifth dimensional being, you. Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leeor Alexandra. Welcome to the Baby Elephant community. On this channel we talk about spirituality, self-development, law of attraction, aliens, and so much more. And today, I know that the title has got you guessing, but really what we're going to be talking about is signs that you are dipping into the fifth dimension, or that you're waking up in the fifth dimension, and signs that you really have attained this fifth dimensionality in your life. One of the signs does have everything to do with the title of this video, so it's not technically clickbait. Before we get into this video, I just want to make an announcement. If you are aware and if you are a fan of my jewelry line, Alchemy by Leeor Alexandra, that's me. There's these beautiful amulets. They have ancient codes on them, 3 Hebrew letters, different codes to help the wearer to manifest different things, to bring different things into physicality. This is ancient sacred science. You can read all about that on the website if you have never heard of it before, but my announcement today is really exciting because the long-awaited minis are back. We've restocked them. I'm so happy. I know how much everybody's been waiting. The last time when we launched them, about a couple months ago, they sold out in 24 hours, just about 24 hours. And because of everything happening here in Los Angeles, things closing, opening up, whatever, our manufacturer is having a hard time supplying us, but we finally got a new supply of the minis. So make sure that you go get yours before they sell out again, because we just don't know when we're going to keep having more stock. Thank you so much for everybody that supports my jewelry line. It means the world to me, and I'm creating something really exciting right now that has something to do with this video today. Can't wait for you guys to see it. It's probably by the end of the year I'll launch it, so I'm really excited about that. And without any further ado, let's talk about the fifth dimension. So what is the fifth dimension? So we live in 3D reality, right? So we have 3 dimensions that make up this existence, and we see things in 3D. We are 3D, and we also exist in the esoteric sense of the third dimension, which is physicality. In the third dimension, we exist with our 5 senses. So we can hear, we can see, we can touch, we can smell. Did I get all of them? Hear, see, touch, smell, the 5 senses, right? And that is how we navigate this 3-dimensional reality. But there are other layers of reality, or other dimensions of reality, in which we have other senses as well. These are other planes of existence that we oscillate in and out of all the time, but we didn't used to do this. In 3D, in the third dimension, which is where the majority of humanity exists in, we tend to live out from the bottom 3 chakras, from the more physical chakras. Everything is about physicality, you know, like Newtonian physics. If we can see it, it exists. If we can feel it, touch it, measure it, if it's palpable, then it's real. That is 3D reality. Now, a good way to understand these dimensions is to see them as kind of like on top of each other. They're really inside of each other, but see them as if it's layers on top one another. Now, higher dimensions are not better than lower dimensions. Think of it as lower tones on a piano or higher tones on an instrument, whatever. It's not that one is better than the other, it's that you need all of it for the melody, right? So there is nothing about being fifth dimensional. I mean, it's a better way to exist in reality because it makes you feel better, it makes the world feel better, but there is no better dimension than another. So the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and all the way up to, I think in esotericism, we say that there are 12. Science says that there's definitely, quantum physics purports either 10 dimensions, 11 dimensions, or infinite dimensions, right? So we have all these other dimensions. These are not necessarily physical dimensions. They're more states of consciousness or dimensions that transcend locality. So it's not like you can really pinpoint them because they exist everywhere at once. I know that that's a little bit convoluted. It doesn't really matter for this. But like I was saying, based on science, quantum physics, we think 10, 11, or infinite dimensions. We have higher beings that are channeled, and their information tells us there's 12. Some people say there's 9. So the 4th dimension in physicality is the dimension of time, while the 3rd dimension, or the 3 other dimensions, are ones of space. And now in spirituality, esotericism, we know that the 4th dimension is it's the astral plane. It's the thought form plane. So when you're astral traveling, this might be experienced as a different place, but really it's on top of this reality. So everything is here all the time. You don't have to go anywhere else to access these different dimensions. Now let's get into 5D, now that we've covered a little bit about different dimensions. 5D is heart-centric living. So in the 5th dimension, we transcend only living through the 5 senses, we become multi-dimensional. So we live life with all these other senses that we don't have access to when we are just 3-dimensional. For example, picking up on subtle energy or seeing from your 3rd eye. The 5th dimension exists in the frequency of love. It is enfolded within it. So whenever you feel unconditional love or just your heart is bursting with joy, you are dipping into the 5th dimension for sure. That's what it feels like. Imagine feeling that way all the time. So why would you want to live in 5D? A person who lives in 5D, though their world is remarkably similar on the outside, on the physical side, as the 3D dimension, as the 3D world. However, their experience is filled with so much love, so much goodness, blessings, miracles, and they attract that into their lives and into the lives of the people around them. So they also raise the frequency of the people around them. All of us are living together on this planet, but we live in different states of consciousness completely. So aligning to your 5D self allows you to live in this world, but to bring heaven down to this world, down to the 3rd dimension. It allows you to live with a wider perspective of the greater picture, right? Knowing all that is. And you deserve to live that well. You deserve to live well and happy, and that's the point of all this. Let's talk about signs that you are dipping into 5D. Like I said, if you're like me, you're oscillating in and out of it all the time. Some days you wake up in 5D and then come out of it. Some days you wake up in 3D and then come into it. So as you become more conscious and aware of subtle energy and the subtleties that are different in each dimension, you'll know for yourself whether you're in 3D or 5D. And of course, you can always align. You can create a life that aligns you to 5D when you wake up in the morning. It does take conscious effort until you exist in those realms more often than you do in other realms. If that's something that you want to do, and if you want me to make a video about that, let me know. All right, so let's begin. I have my list over here. It's about 8 things. So just experiencing one of these is a sign that you are dipping into 5D. If you're experiencing all of them, you know for sure you are. And if you feel like you live in 5D all the time, blessings, teach us all how you do that. Hit the comments below, let us know. My number 1 on my list of signs that you're dipping into 3D is you see things beyond polarity. So you see the big picture. So if you are aware with my non-abiding awakening that I experienced years ago, I saw the big picture for a split second 2 times. And the big picture is that everything is going according to plan, no matter how hard it looks from our perspective. When you see what's going on earth from the divine perspective, from God's eyes, you know that everything is going according to plan. You see beyond polarity. You don't see good and bad, evil and good, whatever. You just do not see duality. You see that everything is good. You don't judge things because people can't be this or that. They're everything. So this is a really good trait to have, because it's like no matter what happens in your life and no matter what happens in the world, you continue to want to do good and want to be good, but you know that everything is still going to be good. Everything is going according to plan. And now for some, I understand how that might seem like being out of touch with reality, but enlightened people all over the world have all experienced and seen the same things. I had the grace of God to be able to dip into that for a split second just to get a quick view of it, right? What I saw is the truth, and the truth is that this is all going according to plan and everything is fine, everything is good. It's still good. And you can only accept that if you accept that we're never born and we never die and we just continue on, and we chose all this. We chose to be here. Number 2 on my list of signs you're opening or dipping into 5D is you're more open to infinite possibilities. So 3-dimensional people, you know, we are all born with certain programming, indoctrination, and socialization that narrows our perspective and tells us, you know, your options are either this, this, or this. And so we go through our whole lives thinking I could either choose this, this, or that. Now, when you're in 5D, you see that those are just 3 options of infinite, limitless possibilities, and that anything can happen because you've achieved your quantum self. And when you're in your quantum self, this quantum mentality, you understand that literally nothing is certain and that the possibilities are endless. And that you're just blinded, you haven't seen, or the other person who's presenting you with these options hasn't seen the possibility of all these other potentialities. The best way that I see this is, let's say you want to be successful and you grow up seeing certain types of success in your life. You either have to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an entrepreneur, whatever it is, right? So there's 3 different options, and you grew up thinking these are my only options. But in reality, there are infinite potentialities for what you could do to be successful. There are infinite definitions of what success is as well. So as a 3rd dimensional person is closed off to all those potentialities, and they think that they can only go with one of these 3. Number 3, a sign that you've dipped into 5D is that you see patterns, connections, and synchronicities. So you see that 2 seemingly meaningless things are actually connected and meaningful, right? So 2 coincidences, you know, in 3 dimension we see them as coincidences. In the 5th dimension we see them as synchronicities. A 5th dimensional person again has this quantum mentality and understands that everything is connected. Number 4, this one is a little bit contentious, I think. If you're in the 5th dimension, you stop getting sucked into the drama of 3D. So it's not that you're unaware of it. You're aware of what's going on in the world. You're aware of what's going on in your family or your friend group or whatever, but your soul isn't coming out of you being sucked and feeding this drama, this egregore that is this drama that comes from whatever source, right? You're not feeding it. You're detached from it. You're aware. You can even provide solutions and help and be there for other people, but you are detached. You're not feeding it, and that drama in turn is not feeding you. So it's nothing to do with spiritually bypassing. It's just you're not allowing yourself to get sucked into the grossness that is that drama of 3D. And you're not letting it ruin your whole day, because if you're letting it ruin your whole day, if you're letting that drama suck you dry, what can you do to provide a solution? How can you fix anything? And what can you do to give the world the best version of you? How can you help if you're being sucked into that, right? Number 5, the 5th sign that you're dipping into the 5th dimension is that you make your decisions through love. So in the 3rd dimension, we are actually taught, it's nobody's fault but the way society is structured, we're taught to make decisions through fear. We're taught to make decisions through scarcity, feeling like we're not going to have enough, feeling like somebody else is going to have it if we don't take it, whatever it is. We make decisions through fear. Any decision, who we end up with, what career we go down, where we travel, where we live, who we hang out with, those decisions, when you reduce them down, they end up in fear. Now in the 5th dimension, you're making your decisions through love. When you reduce them down, it's through love. Who do you love the most in this world, and you want to be with them forever, and it doesn't make sense to anybody else, but for you it does, and that's what matters. What career do you love more than anything? What sets your soul on fire? Where do you want to live? It makes no sense to anybody else, but you want to live right there in the middle of nowhere, and that's what's going to make you happy. All these decisions, they don't come from fear, they come from love. Number 6, another sign that you are dipping into 5D is you can express your emotions, your needs, and your boundaries lovingly. So you can talk about how you feel. If somebody's hurt you, if somebody's crossed the line with you, you can speak to them about it, but you don't attack. You don't go on the defensive or the offensive. You speak through love. You speak through, I love you, but this is what I need from you. I love you, but this is how I feel right now. And everything, the way that you communicate comes off lovingly rather than from a place of hurt and pain and betrayal, which exists in the 3rd dimension. Number 7, this one is kind of a more physical thing. The more conscious they become and the higher they raise their frequency, the more glowy they become. So people will mention to you that you're glowing. I get it, you know, not just online, at the gym or at the grocery store, even with a mask on, somebody will be like, you're glowing. And that's beautiful compliment, awesome, but it actually has something to do with my frequency, with our frequency. We're glowing because we are transcending, we're less dense, we're more spirit. So I remember Aaron Dowdy used to always tell me this, that if we had gone back in time 100 years, if he and I, as we are today, had gone back 100 years, people would think that we're aliens, because the way that all of us, everybody, even if they're not in the 5th dimension, even just three-dimensional, you know, the average person is less dense now than we were 100 years ago. So those people 100 years ago, 150 years ago are more dense, heavier in materiality and physicality. I thought that was always interesting. I'm not sure where he learned that from, but it stuck with me, and it makes sense with the whole 5th dimensional downloads that I've been receiving. Number 8, and this is what has to do with the title of this video, is you can't lie about anything in the 5th dimension. It's very, very difficult for you to lie, even a white lie, or to do anything that is out out of your integrity. If you're not standing with your integrity, if you're not standing with your ethics and morals, it is painful for you to do what you're doing. This could actually be really annoying because sometimes you want to tell a white lie or something just to make things easier on yourself, but it's just not going to feel right. It's going to feel like you're not being true to yourself and like you're not being true to other people. So it's going to be irritating. And the last one kind of connects to that one. It's that being honest and kind is easy. It just comes as second nature to you because you feel honest and kind with yourself and you want to give that to everybody else, and you feel that everybody else deserves it. You also recognize the oneness of all beings, that you are the same as the people that you are interacting with and as the people in your lives. You come from the same source. You are the same consciousness experiencing reality in different vessels, in different human vessels. So you can't be untrue to them. You can't not be good to them because that's your family. That's actually you. The way that you treat others is the way that you treat yourself, and the way that you treat yourself is the way that you are treating others. And in the fifth dimension, it becomes much easier to just smile and be nice and kind and be there for people. So that's it for today's video. I hope this helped. Let me know which, if any of these, you've been exhibiting, or how 5D looks like to you when you wake up in 5D or oscillate in and out of it. I want to know about your experience. I'm actually gathering information from different people who experience these different subtle energy shifts like I do. I'd really like to hear from you, so please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment below so we can have a conversation about it. I'm very interested. Make sure to go get your mini or your amulet if you haven't yet. It's alchemybyla.com. I love you. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep your vibration way, way, way up. Bye.